the height of my career to have my daughter. I felt like abandonment, actually. The support just fell away. I have felt guilty and I have felt bad that maybe I was not a good enough mother at that time to Lauren, because I was out of myself, out of my body. I was fast forwarding to getting back on the track, to proving myself to everyone else. Don't like the term geriatric mom.
Well, it's ridiculous, and it comes from the age of 35.
So unattractive. I wanted to almost celebrate the fact that it can happen. And maybe don't fear it.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Happy Mum, Happy Baby, the podcast. Today's guest is an Olympic gold medalist. I would say that she was a huge athlete when I was growing up, in terms of she was the athlete that I really knew the most about, and I felt like I saw her everywhere. She's a TV presenter, she's an athletic pundit, she's the president of the UK Athletics, she's mum to 4 children, she's an author of a book called Adaptability, which I have been reading and absolutely love. It's Dame, because she's a Dame Denise Lewis. Hello.
Hello, you. I'm just D.
Just
Denise
D.
to you.
A dame.
That's just wow, isn't it?
Yeah, but so well deserved. Like I know I kind of waffle sometimes, but it is that thing. Growing up, you were the athlete that, like, it's incredible.
The thing is, I think, depending on your era,
Yeah.
you know, like for some, Daley Thompson's the athlete. For others, it might be Sally Gunnell,
Yeah.
who was, you know, my team leader, a team captain, and the woman that we all wanted to emulate.
Yeah.
And so to hear that from you makes me feel really proud that
Yeah.
obviously what I did on the track resonated. It made an impact, some way, shape or form, even though we come from both totally different backgrounds and
I'm not
careers.
sporty. You might be surprised to hear, but I could appreciate you being sporty.
Yeah, and so, you know, it was about making the most of the opportunities in that very, very obscure event of the heptathlon, as it was then, and just, you know, making your mark when it mattered. That's, I think, how I did it, basically.
And I love the fact that you've taken your learnings and your wisdom and turned it into a book. Like Adaptability is, so it's Adaptability, 7 Lessons to Thrive in a World of Competing Demands. I love it because we are all so multifaceted, but we all have such different demands placed on us all the time.
All the time. Yeah, writing that book for me was almost cathartic in some ways.
Really?
Yeah, it really was, because I've been living in, despite the public persona, in my private life, in a little bit of a state of rage. For want of a better word. And I'm normally quite a calm, fun-loving person.
But that's what makes the rage so difficult to talk about, because it comes with a load of shame and embarrassment that you might feel that way. But so many people do have that rage, but it's then not talked about because we think, oh, well, I can't talk about that because I'm a calm person, and people will be really actually quite shocked and disgusted that I feel like that. But it's there.
But it's there and it's real. And the more you don't talk about it, the more it intensifies, to the point some days you're kind of like, who have I become?
Yeah.
You know, what is this about? This is not the glorious journey, motherhood and parenting in particular, that I envisaged. You know, I was a single child. I had, I would say, borderline deprivation. I wasn't, you know, down and out by any stretch of the imagination, but I didn't have plenty.
Yeah.
And fast forward to becoming a mother in a lovely home. I drive a nice car. I have friends. I have a support network, and I can afford my life because I work hard. And I have these children, and I've still got rage. You know, and so I just had to just pause and think, what am I doing so wrong? Why am I feeling like I'm failing when everything I know about giving more produces better results?
Mm-hmm.
and this isn't happening. Or, where's that book to help me?
Yeah.
And so I just had to sort of own it and say, look, I don't like who I'm becoming, as a parent. I'm just running around. I don't have time to engage properly sometimes. And it's just like just a Rolodex of stuff that I have to keep doing. And every minute that I'm awake, something has to be done.
I literally write myself out to-do lists now and I put them on the side. So not only I can see what I'm doing, but other people can see what I'm doing. And I might add them during the day or whatever. But it's that thing of every minute has to be spent doing something. And yesterday it was something stupid. So I had an alarm that was going off, beeping, a smoke alarm, right? So I thought, right, it's been going off for a week. I've not been here. No one else has done it. I'm going to do it. So I started doing it. I don't have the right battery. So now this job that should have taken me 2 minutes, I've now got to go to the shop to buy the right battery to put it. It's just that thing where I know it's such a tiny thing, but I think for me, it really showed the fact that you go in and do one thing and actually that ends up giving you another job. Yeah. And it's that time just seems to be slipping away and there's not enough for us to do all the things that we've placed on ourselves.
Correct. And how do you then press that pause button? Because I don't know whether we're very similar in that way, that we just think we need to accomplish and get it done, tick off those jobs on the list. Yeah. But within that, you have to understand that you can't do it all in a day and you have got to start delegating. And I think that was a game changer for me. I read a book by Eve Rodsky about fair play.
Cards. Yeah.
And I remember crying reading that first couple of chapters where she talks about her realisation. Because I didn't realise it was real, that this thing that I was experiencing was real, that this overload and this, compulsion just to just keep going was there. And so I just thought, okay, this is what some women do. Yeah. Some women aren't brilliant at delegating or actually explaining that I'm tired and I'm overloaded. And although you see the top line jobs that I do, and these are not work, as in paid work, and then there's a whole plethora of other jobs that are needing doing, and I feel that I'm the only one getting through it.
Do you feel like, because what I feel like in those situations as well, is that sometimes I'm the one that can do it properly. It's a standard thing. Do you know what I mean? And letting go of that and kind of going, we've all got different approaches and different ideas of what is a good stand. So letting go of that, because actually if we're constantly going, no, that's not how you do it.
Correct.
No one's going to want to help or in the household anyway, not help you, but help within the house.
And you turn your team, your family off usually. And that's what I found, because my standards in their minds were too high. Yeah. And so you end up saying, oh, well, I'll do it for speed because, I know how it's done and I can do it better. And so I'll just do it. And it'll save time, and then I can move on to the next job. Instead of, actually, it doesn't matter if it's she's going to say it and actually eat her words. It doesn't matter if it's not right up to your standard. Yeah. But as long as it's done, then we can move on.
I don't know. It's that thing of you don't want to feel like you're nagging. So
don't say that word. Oh, gosh, I feel faint already. That is just the word that is so triggering for me.
And maybe stops us all from even asking in the first place, because we don't want to feel like a nag.
Yeah, that word. And complaining.
Yeah.
You're always complaining. No, I'm not. I'm always requesting help.
Mm-hmm. So then writing adaptability, did you feel like you were still learning during that process of writing? Because I write fiction and I write a bit of non-fiction. That's where Happy Mum, Happy Baby come from. But I even feel like in my fiction, I learn things as I write. And that's what makes it such an amazing experience.
Yeah. And also there was a lot of acceptance for me writing it as well. That, accepting that I have never really spoken about how I feel. People do have this perception of this strong woman, because it's a label that I used to claim for myself. It's something that I think is not the words. It's not endearing, but it's a word that we celebrate a lot, being a strong woman. but what does that mean that you sacrifice in the process sometimes? And so for me, it was acceptance that, no, I'm not always strong, and I accept that I haven't always asked for help. And so the lessons and the tools that I try to impart were my almost my failings to support whoever wants to read the book to think differently about themselves and how they go about doing things.
You make the point as well in the book that, you know, during your career, you absolutely rely on other people.
Yeah.
You have a coach, you have a team that help you succeed. Whereas in life, so many of us are just sort of going, no, I must do it all and I must not ask for help, and not seeing the beauty that can happen actually if it's not just claimed by yourself.
Yeah. And again, that was a revelation to me, thinking I'm so wise and worldly and realising the contrasts from the working woman to the wife and mother at home. They can be completely different sometimes. But, you know, in the same time, I think I did lean into the working woman Denise, into the home, thinking, yeah, I can do everything, because I'm used to pushing my boundaries. Yeah. I'm used to excelling and doing as much as I can to make things better and just to feel like I've reached my peak.
Yeah. We talked about your childhood a little bit when you were talking about your mum, and I know it was completely different to the life that your kids have now. But you grew up in Wolverhampton, you were the only child. What was life like back then?
Simple, I guess, because I think I just fell into line and life of what my mum expected and needed from me. So it was very much, you know, you wake up, you do the small routines. So you're making your bed, you know, you're brushing your teeth, you're doing everything right.
Yeah.
And when she needed me to go shopping with her, I was there because there was no one to stay at home and look after me. So I just accompanied her everywhere until, you know, I was in nursery from a very young age. My mum worked full time. And so we had a daily routine. So she'd pick me up from nursery, go home, prepare food. Very, very simple.
Yeah.
And only things changed, I think, when I started to introduce sort of athletics into my life, and then my evenings became sort of my own, and I took ownership of my life a little bit in a different way. I know it sounds really crazy, but my mum will also echo that my athletics was all about my determination, and I wanted to do it. So the ferrying me...
It's one of those things, isn't it? You can't force a child into that. Like, that has to come from within, that drive, that determination.
Yeah, for some. You know, you've heard people like Andre Agassi talk about his father's desire, Tiger Woods' father's desire, and the Williams sisters' desire. Yeah. So it can be done a different way. But for me, it was very much, I love this. I want to do this. I'm curious about, you know, the end result, which for me was the light bulb moment of the Olympics, watching it on TV in these long summer months. Yeah. And this week we talk about the power of sport, you know. We've all witnessed the Lionesses. We've got the Women's World Cup rugby just on our doorsteps in a minute. And so it's that power of sport that attracted me to the whole dream.
Yeah.
And so every week, without fail, I was there.
Yeah. For me, growing up, I had acting and performing, and that was a bit of escapism. You know what I mean? Was sport for you the same thing? Kind of having that focus, kind of nothing else exists other than that when you're doing it?
It was a feeling, for sure. Whether I was on the school's sports playground or when I went to the track, it just felt, it was passion. It was a feeling of feeling free, feeling like I was testing my body in ways that I couldn't imagine. Escapism, I don't know about that, but it was, you know, something to do and a new community.
Yeah.
You know, at home, I was on my own, apart from my little cat. But I was home and I was on my own. And so being out with people my age, mixing with others was glorious for me.
Yeah. Was there a point where you suddenly realised, oh, this is actually going to be my career and this is what I'm doing?
much later, because it was still very much an amateur sport for so long. It was supposed to be a pastime and a hobby.
Really?
It was never a career pathway. It was just something to do, but do it really well.
Yeah.
And so I probably not until I was turning 20 did I realise that actually I could get paid for this, a little bit. You saw the likes of Linford Christie, Sally Gunnell, having contracts and sponsorships. And so that's when you think, okay, I could make some money from doing this.
Yeah.
But it has given me so much more, because it has given me a career in a different way. And it allows me and has allowed me to diversify and into other areas of careers. And so I feel very blessed by that very innocent passion that has now blossomed into something more.
Yeah. You've talked about before about when you got pregnant with your daughter and how there was just this sudden switch from the career, from the people that supported you. And at the time, there were no other female athletes becoming pregnant and having families. That must have been so tough to go through.
Well, none that I was aware of.
Yeah.
It was very much a case of, my goodness, most women got to the end of their careers, then they made the choice to have children or not. And so for me, at the height of my career, to have my daughter, but have the level of, I felt like abandonment, actually. The support just fell away, and there was no conversation, there was no signposting, there was no support in how I would transition from athlete into athlete mother.
Do you think that's because they just didn't know then? They hadn't done the science and the research or anything like that?
Definitely. I'm literally a product of an era.
Yeah.
Of just no one talked about those type of things.
And whereas now, I'm sure there are athletes that when they get pregnant now or are thinking about it, there are other athletes that they can look at or speak to. You can slip into someone's DMs, you can be contacted somehow.
Totally.
Whereas back then you wouldn't have necessarily had that.
No, not at all. So the network is so great, so much greater now.
Yeah.
Last year at the Olympics, where there was such an emphasis on
The mums.
And the dads to a little to a degree, but on the moms competing and how some were bringing their children into the Olympic Village. And this was just like a no-no back in my day. It was like, this is performance over here and anything else does not exist. And I became quite emotional again at one stage, just thinking how it could have been so different. I didn't feel like I was thriving. I felt like I had to be more stoic, more strong, just to prove people wrong that I can be serious. I could be serious as a mom. I'd still train as hard. I would still work and be ambitious and have aspiration in my career, as opposed to just becoming this light, fluffy mom who can't manage.
Yeah. Had you had a break when you found out you were pregnant?
No.
You were still...
I was still...
So it must be difficult in that period, kind of going, well, this is a chunk of time where I am pregnant. They're probably not going to let me compete. Yeah. What does that look like?
That space where, again, it's like, well, my body's going to change.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm not having a conversation with my team doctor about, how long it's going to take me to get back. It was just... we'll see you at the other side kind of thing. So I
even then, you don't know what your recovery is going to be like the other side.
Nothing.
And, our local GP, God love them, they don't know your body in the way that you do and what a body to be an athlete takes.
Absolutely. And I'd lost my coach, and I say lost, but he literally was so unimpressed that I was pregnant, and he felt that he couldn't work with me during that time. So he just said, no, you're off. I got red carded, basically. I'm laughing now.
Have you seen him since?
Yes, we're good friends since.
Okay.
We've broken bread. We've talked about it. He said he was wrong. He was so... It was just such a shock for him.
Yeah.
I mean, indeed, it was
and
a shock for
sometimes
me also.
we react in ways that aren't.
Yes.
You know, we look back
With no
and
compassion.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't have any compassion at that time.
And actually, what you just said, that it was a shock to you, to be at the height of your career at that point, and to kind of have that you've worked so hard towards, and to suddenly go, oh,
Yeah.
like what was that like? No, forget about the coaches and everything like that. That moment.
It was, will my body be the same? Will I be able to do what I love? And just waiting. So there was always that sort of fine line between, I'm so excited about this, that this is a real, I'm honoured that my body is going to have the opportunity to do this, and a little bit of fear as well. And I know that goes together with any mom, actually.
Yeah.
You know, so those emotions were still real. But my sense after giving birth was very much, can my body perform at its highest again? Because I rely so much on my body.
That is such a massive pressure.
Yeah, and it was a lot of pressure. And maybe I don't know whether I skipped anything, but I just didn't know enough.
Yeah.
I just didn't know enough.
So during your pregnancy, were you trying to be as active as possible?
Yes, I was still trying to jog, and I did jog. I was in the weights room. I had very basic information about, you know, lifting above your head, overheating, so all the practical things that you need to know. But again, it's the timeline postpartum. You know, how much time does one give oneself when you're on the clock, basically, contractually from your sponsors, timelines in terms of competition, you know, those dates are already set.
But you don't know what your body's going to do. I can remember going for a walk simply because I'd seen online that other people were going for a walk, and I thought I should really go out for a walk, and having to stop because I felt like my insides were going to fall out.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know what your body is going to do in that time, but it is so important to listen to your body. And I wonder actually if, as an athlete, you do have that skill of knowing what's going on in your body and kind of going, well, I'm not going to push further than this.
Yes, but then you also, at the same time, you're thinking, but I know I need to push more than this because this is not enough. Yeah. And so I remember that first sort of track session back, having done sort of like general preparation, so in the gym and circuits, and, you know, that first running session, you know, I literally felt like a duck. I just couldn't, you know, the feet were going all over the place. They didn't feel like my rhythm, my foot placement. It was just so alien to me. I was just thinking, my goodness. And I remember at that time I was thinking, I've got literally 9 months before I'm about to put on, you know, England or Great Britain kit again. So I just need to get my act together and get moving. So it was just a weird time. And also, what I've looked back now at my parenting and Denise the first time round, I was in such a rush to become an athlete again because that was my identity. You know, Lauren went everywhere with me, but my brain was so focused on getting back.
Yeah. How do you feel looking back and going and knowing that was where your head was at?
Like I said, I've made a lot of peace with myself.
Yeah.
And, you know, subsequently having my other children, and particularly Troy now, having him at 46, and how much time I spend with him, not rushing my time away and enjoying those milestones. I have felt guilty, and I have felt bad that maybe I was not a good enough mother at that time to Lauren, my first daughter, and my only daughter, and because I was out of myself, out of my body. I was fast forwarding to getting back on the track, to proving myself to everyone else.
Yeah. All I can say is that we had Arlene Phillips. We had Arlene Phillips on with her daughter Alana.
Yeah.
And so Alana had just had her little girl, and they were both on together. And it was really fascinating because Arlene basically said exactly the same as you've just said. You know, I felt guilty 2 weeks after a C-section, or less than that. She was on a plane going to somewhere. I think she was literally choreographing I'm Still Standing for Elton John, something like that. And Alana turned to her mum and said, absolutely not. Like, do not carry that guilt, because I went everywhere and I did everything and I could see, what you were doing for me. And I think we all have to let go of that guilt that doesn't serve us, because you gave Lauren something that no other parent can give her.
Yeah.
And it's all still driven, that you're providing and you're still doing all that stuff for the family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, she's an interesting one, my daughter, because so building on from that, then I have other children.
Yeah.
And I did spend more time with Ryan, my number 2, because I had retired by then, and I was just I thought I'm going to do this motherhood properly. I'm going to stay at home for a little bit and make sure I'm there for everything.
Yeah.
And then I had Kane, and so it always felt like maybe she didn't have enough of me. And only me, because then I was really in the rat race, because I was I'm working, careers changing, I'm flying and moving around, creating a home, she's at school. So that quality time, and of course we did family holidays, but it was always, she's still got the brothers,
Yeah.
And
sometimes if you're the easy child, you know what I mean? You don't get the focus because actually these ones have to be entertained, but you'll be fine with the book. Do you know what I mean? It's a very, very different thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's, I don't know. Motherhood is yeah. As you said, I think you called it already. There's so much second guessing sometimes, guilt, shame sometimes, but not really. But it's the guilt, and we know we talk about the mummy guilt and how we could do things better.
Yeah.
But we're all just trying to do as much as we can to the best of our ability with the time that we have. And so, and I think I'm learning that, and it has taken this long to get it. Yeah, to get it and accept it and be good with myself about it.
When you look back at that time in your career, can you look back on it with pride? Is there a touch of kind of feeling torn still when you look back at it?
It was such an unhappy time, if that makes sense. I was going through so much as an athlete versus what felt like the rest of the world, not being present. Yeah. In mind present mother, relationship breakdowns. Yeah. So, and that was, again, personally and professionally. And so I don't look back at that time with fondness, if I'm being really honest with you. And my coach recently, he's been going through his garage and, cuttings and whatnot, paper cuttings that he's stumbled on and articles. And one of the headlines, which again put a lump in my throat, where I describe not enjoying my reign as Olympic champion.
Really?
Yeah, and it is all about what we've just discussed. It's all about that whole change, feeling guilty, trying to prove myself and not being. And so I admire the athletes of today that can step back and say, this is actually too much and I'm going to just do something else for a little bit.
But I mean, also the flip side of that, to have you talking in that way back then would have been huge.
Yeah, I think so, but I'm not even sure. You remember women's... I can't explain women's sportswomen that weren't really headlines. You have to remember that, really. It would have been a footnote on the back page somewhere. So I don't know how much traction that would have got. But, if it was on my Instagram now, I'm sure it would have gone viral. But, it had a lump in my throat. But I'm pleased and proud that I've managed to recover from these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
absolutely.
recovery is everything.
Yeah. And talking to Lauren about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And kind of, I think that's, and maybe that stuff happens as our children get older as well, kind of looking back and being able to reflect on it together. Mm-hmm. Because I think sometimes we are so hard on ourselves. And also, as kids go through puberty and all that stuff, I'm sure they're hard on us as well.
Oh, that's a whole new podcast. That's a whole new podcast.
Well, you've had 3 go through it now.
My boys bring me to tears.
No.
Oh, yes, they do.
Oh, no.
I love them dearly. I love them dearly. But sometimes they're horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible to me.
I've seen the sudden switch sometimes when I ask the eldest to do something and they just go, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what to do with this.
It's like you don't even see me, and as a parent, I still watch my children, I watch them eat, I'm looking at the balance of their food, and they just want to be young men. Yeah. And they want me just to be in the backseat and shut up. And I'm going to get there. I hope.
That's so hard when you're devoted.
Yeah,
decades.
But it's sometimes real. It's not every parent.
Yeah,
it's just I have children that really are pretty self-assured and confident, and I've probably made them that way, right?
But it's difficult when we look back at our childhood. My kids say stuff, and I'm like, I would never. But I know that my dad would also say about us, I would never, talk to my mum in that way. So it is that thing where maybe every generation is feeling it in some way. And also because that behaviour is usually displayed in the house, it makes us feel like it's only us.
Comrect. Yeah, totally. Because I know when we're out and about and we have a lot of fun together. Yeah. So, what is it about the home that compounds all this energy?
I like to tell myself that basically it's their safe place where they're allowed to sort of switch off, so they don't have to be. Like all of us have to be a certain way, don't we, when we step outside? Whereas then when they're at home, they can just go, huh, and then the devil comes out. That's what I like to tell myself sometimes. They just feel so safe at home that they can let it out.
I think I need to listen to more podcasts.
I do.
I think I really need to listen to more podcasts to actually keep reassuring myself that you are not alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it will be all right.
Thank you. It will be. It will be all right. How did your pregnancies differ? Because obviously in one, you know that you want to compete. In the next two, you're not competing. And the next one, you actually think you're in perimenopause. So that's quite a surprise one when you're 46. So how did all of those differ to each other?
I think, where do you want me to start? Number two? Yes. Number two, easy.
Really?
Again, easy baby as well.
Did you feel that's because, the pressure was off?
Yes, definitely. I had all the time in the world.
Yeah.
All the time in the world. This was now my new brand mommy. And so I was determined just to enjoy it and just ride the wave. Yeah. And, I was not going to do as much as I did with Lauren in terms of, I bought Lauren everything. Really? You name it. If it was on the market for babies, I would have bought it for her. She had everything. So I was smarter in terms of my purchases. Yeah. But in terms of my time, I was absolutely more there, more present, more giving.
It's that thing of, when you're having your first, I think when you're told this helps them sleep, this does this does this, you're just like, yes.
Yeah, despite all the books. Yeah. There was no podcasts or anything back then. But the books I read cover to cover. Yeah. How's this going to work? How's that going to work? This is what you ought to do. This is what you should do. But that book isn't working. Why isn't it working? She said if I did this.
They hadn't read it. That's what I always say. They've not read the book that tells them how to act.
Correct. And so then Ryan was easy. Got on with heavy baby. Very holistic, beautiful pregnancy. Really? Delivered him in a birthing pool with music, aromatherapy, and just lovely massages from my husband. It was just really what you envisage a pregnancy or a birth should be.
Was it very different to the two previous ones?
It was very different to Lauren's. Yeah, very much so. She was epidural because I thought, gosh, the pain. Everyone's talking about the pain. Yeah. Don't feel the pain. But the epidural didn't work. So I have like a septum. So I only got numb on one side of my body, which actually isn't useful. So I was having these weird sort of contractions, but it didn't work, and I didn't come off my bed. Really? That was the first thing. Right. So it wasn't great. She had ventouse, And those days, it was really like a whole cap.
Yeah.
And so she had a cone head. So poor baby was in agony when she came out. So that was difficult. Good baby. Ryan, easy, 9-pounder, but he came out with a bit of a push. Yeah, but he
Still an
he came
epidural
out.
or no epidural?
No epidural, gas and air.
What made you kind of go, this time round, well, I guess it didn't go right.
Well, it didn't go right. More knowledge that you are moving is good. You know, if you can move, and trusting the body's ability. For me, great midwife environment just made me feel good, and so I believed I could just breathe it out. So gas and air, and listening to my body. I did pregnancy yoga as well, which was great. So that whole controlling the breath and pain helped me massively.
Also, lovely to have that little bit of time each week that's yours.
Yes,
I loved pregnancy yoga.
yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Kane was, again, easy pregnancy. I've been so lucky with my pregnancies. They've been great. So he started off he actually came out in the water. So he came out in the birthing pool like a little torpedo. So that was amazing to witness that. More challenging baby.
Really?
Definitely. Did not sleep a wink. He nearly broke me.
Really?
Just physically, mentally, because he was latched on what felt like every minute of every day, and wouldn't sleep.
How much time did you give yourself off with those two pregnancies?
With Ryan, I had a good sort of year because I was just transitioning into whatever I was going to do next.
Yeah.
Working part-time. So I hadn't found my feet yet.
Yeah.
And so I had time.
Yeah.
Kane followed sort of 2 years later.
Yeah.
So it was just all good.
Yeah,
And then I started working for the BBC in sort of 2009. So I'd had 3 children. Lauren would have been 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was busy.
But when you're doing things like that and, it's live TV, one thing I always think is if you're a mum, not having had the sleep. If you've got kids that aren't sleeping, like that's a very difficult thing to kind of go, and I'm on,
Yes.
and I know everyone's names and all the things.
Yeah. But I was much younger and much more capable. I was fit, still relatively fit. And so I felt I had a reservoir of energy.
Yeah.
And sort of coping with not that much sleep, but I did it. Kane, I had to give over to my husband at the time because he was difficult.
Yeah.
He was just unsettled. And that was a bit of a curveball because, Ryan and Lauren had been so good.
You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You've done it before. It's fine.
Yeah, and travelled with them both. I was never a stressy parent. I didn't stress much. Again, big arenas, handle pressure. So what's parenting? That's going to be a breeze. But Kane was difficult. But, fast forwarding to Troy at 46, I would say the biggest difference between the Lauren experience where I was in a rush to get back to competing, I was equally in a rush to get back to working.
Really?
Because I love working, live television is just thrilling.
Yeah.
But it felt like it was on my terms.
That's good.
As opposed to, feeling the pressure of others and the expectation that I was a competing athlete and I ought to be back in that arena. Yeah. I wanted to be back, but I was determined to do it my way.
Yeah.
And with that, the wealth of experience that I had as a parent, I felt I could.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've had a really glorious time with Troy at 46. Feel like I've defied what being a geriatric mom is supposed to be.
Well, let's talk. So after having the older 3, were you, in your mind, were you like 3 and done? Or was there a part of you that thought, well, maybe there's space for more?
I love babies.
Do you?
Gotta say, I do. I think they're all that hope and enchanting. Everyone just stares at their babies. But realistically, I had lost a baby in between, and I didn't feel I was completely done. Yeah. And so when that yearning started to really consume me a bit more, and husband's eyes were rolling back like, oh God, here we go again. It was definitely kind of like, no, I do want another one. And
really?
I think I can do it.
I think sometimes a loss can really settle that for you.
Yeah.
Which camp you're in? Like,
sure.
Do I want more? Actually, or am I sort of happy as?
Yeah. And there was a lot of soul searching because, it's like you've got 3 healthy children. Do you really want to upset the balance of everything? But I did, and I honestly don't regret it. And I'm not going to say it's easy all the time because it never is. While I watch my 50-somethings, living their best life and going off and free, and their children are babies, are doing their thing, and they've got what they claim as their lives back.
Yeah.
I'm still on the school run, and I know I will be for the next 10, 12 years.
We were talking about this earlier, how long we actually are going to be spending on the school run. I know that I'm going to be doing it for 19 years. 19 years of my life on the school run. How long do you think you're going to be been doing the school run?
I'll be literally half my life.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Half my life. There's got to be some T-shirt there, isn't there?
Yeah.
To wear.
Half my life on the school run.
Yeah, but I'm doing the school run differently.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm more. I'm all up in myself at the moment, and I just kind of want to retain a semblance of me again, because I am in my 50s and my tolerances to certain things are less.
Yeah.
And so I am doing the school run differently. I made sure that I told all my parents that, I'm slightly older. It's not my first rodeo, and I possibly won't be engaging in some of the activities.
Yeah.
Troy didn't like parties for the first couple of years.
Yeah.
Really was nervous, didn't like, he was a bit overwhelmed. And so I got out of that as well.
Have you ever been the class rep?
No. That is
Children, you've been able to get out of being the class rep every time.
I've swerved that. I've seen the devastation it can cause.
Yes. I've been very clear. I've been like, guys, I'm not the one. I will let us all down. I am. Please. Every child will not have their wellies when they need them, and I'm so sorry.
I know. I feel like I'm due. I should really do one before the last hurrah.
Heard it here first. Year 3. Yes, it's going to be the class rep. The WhatsApp group's going off now.
It's literally like, can't wait for that one. We'll be going into London most of the time. The parents will be like, come on, ladies, let's go. No one wants to see that.
Was it weird when you fell pregnant with Troy, having the emphasis of you being pregnant about your age?
It didn't get tiring.
Yeah.
But I felt like I'm going to champion this.
Really?
I'm championing the hell out of this. I don't like the term geriatric mom.
Well, it's ridiculous, and it comes from the age of 35, I think, is geriatric mum.
Yeah, 35, 39, something like that. But it's so unattractive. I wanted to almost celebrate the fact that it can happen.
Yeah.
And maybe don't fear it. So I wanted to turn that whole, what seemingly could feel like a negative narrative into a positive one.
Well, I mean, I look at you and I look at Tana Ramsey and I just think, you are both leaning into motherhood in a very different way to what you have, what you had at the time with your first. Yeah. And it feels like you're able to really enjoy that time with your youngest ones.
Yeah. And, I talk about lockdown. I can talk about how that really made me get to know my baby, and gel and let him settle into his family.
Yeah.
It's like this, get to know each other. instead of everyone sort of being out and about. And we were a unit.
Yeah.
We were a proper unit, and he just got the best of everybody.
What was it like seeing the elder kids with the youngest?
Kind of beautiful. I think they saw themselves in him. Like, this is what moms do. They nurture, they love, they're micromanaging, if you like, in a positive way, and then nurturing, and I think they got a snapshot into what it must have been like for them as babies.
Yeah.
And they thought, I couldn't believe how small he was. That was so beautiful. The opening his fingers and looking at his fingers, and obviously being very disgusted when they saw the nappies and a little bit of the vomit. So it's like, they got to see things, which is a great experience. And they adore him. They absolutely adore him.
We talked about your body in the first 3 pregnancies and how they fared with the pregnancies and then the birth. With Troy, what was that time like? Body
has been amazing for me, but I was really conscious not to overtrain at all.
Really?
And I didn't feel like it, to be honest, especially during my pregnancy. So I did very, very basic, simple exercises. So I didn't run at all. So I walked on the treadmill, slight elevation every now and again, but really simple, very small sort of dumbbells. Bands, but just everything just ticking over. It was about, the rounded approach to staying healthy.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I don't have crazy cravings. I'm really lucky.
Yeah.
I have good pregnancies, and hence why I've done it 4 times, I guess. And so I enjoyed everything about it. And getting my body back, I was more determined. Again, because of my age, that I had to invest a bit more time.
Really?
Yeah. Definitely.
How was that differed every time, the recovery? Well, I guess the first time around you were so focused on, what you were going to do.
Yeah. I think with Ryan, I was at the stage of enjoying, marital bliss and cooking with butter and showing off, my creative mummy skills. I was putting on weight.
Yeah.
And I was fine with that for a little while. And then I was like, that doesn't feel like me. And so then I started to address that, but never really, we're not talking that horrible D word, never dieted, just
Really?
Started to eat just a bit more sensibly again and less wine.
Just a little bit less wine.
Just a little bit less.
Less, not
Yes,
none.
yes.
That's where we're going.
No, that's not my life. And with Troy, it was very much based on lockdown.
Yes.
But there was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So I got back into my training, and sometimes training twice a day online, catching up with my friends. We do little circuits in the garden, obviously remotely. And I found the bug again.
Yeah.
For exercise in a different way, that I need it. It is my go-to. It's my go-to for stress. It's my go-to for my own physical wellness.
Yeah.
And so, I realised that this is me. I am a sportswoman. I love my body and I love to feel sweaty. I love taking on challenges. They make me feel alive.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
I've also found a new love for walking, which I never had before. And that's my calm moments, because we need the balance.
Yeah, absolutely. What was your birth like with Troy? Was it in lockdown?
Just no, before lockdown, 2018. Again, it took me a long time to settle on where and what to do, because I'd had both experiences of not so good and amazing. And because of my age, amazing wasn't an option for me. I couldn't go into the birthing pool again. I had to have a consultant-led process, which grated me. And so it just took me a while to settle on where I was going to have my baby and how. So I hardly did any of my antenatal clinics. Just didn't bother.
Wasn't that different? Having done it in a pool and been relaxed, you know how much of that is being in a positive mindset, how being calm and actually if you're already in that state where something's happening that you're not comfortable with and you don't want, that's really going to mess with that a little bit.
Totally. Totally. So I did just sit back and just let the body do what it needed to do.
Okay.
I took, obviously the screening at vital times, but I felt good, and I was going to trust that I felt good throughout. And, I had a positive attitude to the whole process. And so, I went into the hospital, and again, a totally different pregnancy in terms of, Lorna had a partial rupture. And so I started, my water started to break, but not the gush. It was just a trickle. The boys, Ryan and Kane, were very much in the hospital. Waters break, contractions start, we're on.
Right, yeah.
With Troy, it was waters broke and nothing.
Really?
Nothing happening. 24 hours. And therefore it was like, okay, you're going to have to come in now, and we're going to have to start your contractions for you. And I was like, no, because that means I'll end up having a C-section, and I didn't want to do that. So I was kind of willing this baby out. I was walking. I was, high knees, walk to the hospital. He will come out. But no, in the end, they had to just intensify my contractions because it wasn't happening. So I had a couple of scary moments during giving birth.
Yeah.
Heart rate dropping. Then the almost like drama. Everyone bursts through the door, and it's like, are we going to take her down to surgery?
Yeah.
Are we going for the C-section? I had a little tearful moment because I was like, just as long as the baby's okay, that was fine. Please, I don't mind having that C-section that I really didn't want. But there was one consultant who came in and then looked at me. He's like, I believe you can do this. And I did. And it was, again, the most magical thing when I saw him. It's like, thank you. Just thank you for blessing me. Great gift.
Also, having a baby after a loss, it is that thing where, I think when you've had 3 children without that, not that you would ever take it for granted, but it really does kind of make you go, aren't I lucky?
Yes. And you're so much more aware of what can go wrong.
Yeah.
And that you can't take anything for granted during that whole process. Pregnancy, giving birth, it is really, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. And sometimes you're just not in control. Mm-hmm. And you have to accept that.
Is that difficult as an athlete? That control not being there?
Well, I think the difficulty with an athlete is always you think you can.
Right.
And actually sometimes you can't. Mm-hmm. And so I think you have walking that line for yourself all the time and understanding when it is time to let go and let someone else take control who might know more and do better for you.
What would you say has been the toughest stage of parenting?
Toughest in as much as I think when the children turn 18, there's this almost kissing goodbye of don't use the control, but that connection in a way that you've always been there, and you have to literally give them to the world. Mm-hmm. And I remember when Lauren turned 18, I sobbed.
Really?
Yeah, I cried because I'm like, this is really, as much as you think you can protect them, you just can't. They get to an age where you just got to let them be.
How's your relationship with your mum changed over the years?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Because my mum has always said that she never felt that I was going to stay at home.
Really?
Thought that my wings were always there to flap and fly. And I think we've got better because she has allowed me just to be without putting too much guilt on me. Because, when you're an only child, there is an expectation that you need to be there.
Yeah. Everything's on you.
Everything is on you. And so she's had to make peace with that for herself. And my relationship with her is a good one now.
Yeah.
It's always been good, but it's even better now. I think because she's been there. Oh my gosh, she is my go-to person for childcare support.
Yeah.
Advice, not always. Not always, and not because she hasn't wanted to give it, but I think sometimes I've felt that her ways has not evolved enough for the current modern life that we lead. And so, I felt sometimes that she's judged me harshly, but I'm like, Mum, I have to be nimble with this level of parenting now. And so maybe that way is not going to serve me in order to help these guys. But yeah, we enjoy things together.
Does that give you some level of reassurance of, the fact that relationships are ever evolving? It might be that this intense mummy stage of your life is starting to come to an end with the older two, but actually there's a whole new chapter waiting for you that will still evolve as their life changes.
Yes, completely, because I think back to my teens and how stressful stressed out my mum was.
Yeah.
And I think I was quite good, to be honest, but and we all say that. And so, yes, you're right, that moment where I know we can be two adults together with my children, be adults and enjoy each other in a different way, gives me comfort, because it has been a challenge the last sort of 4 to 5 years with the older ones. Yeah, it has. It just,
It must be so hard when you're so used to like them being the ones that give you all the kisses and the love, and having those memories of how actually different and magical it felt when they were younger, to be that like really there present mum, to kind of feel like you're losing them. And I know it's hormonal, I know there's all scientific research about why that happens, why they've got to detach from you and feel like you're annoying, and that everything you say is wrong. I know that there's scientific base for like scientific stuff around that. However, it's so heartbreaking.
But it doesn't, you can apply all the logic and all the science, but we are feeling people, we have feelings, we have emotions, and sometimes the logic and the emotional heads, they're not on at the same time. And so naturally the pendulum swings, right? But eventually that logic will kick in, and that is, they have to grow, they have to. We can't scaffold them all the time, we can't think for them, we have to let them be and let them grow. And you have to then turn inward a little bit more, which is what I've been doing the last few years, turning a bit more inward and thinking about how can I be a better person to allow them, so we can have better communication ultimately. Even when you do blow a fuse or, the relationships are strained, I think if you are, self-aware and show some vulnerability, as parents, you always sometimes, I'm right and that's it. If you show some vulnerability and open those channels of communication, you will get there.
If you could write a letter on parenthood, who would it be to, and what would you say?
Oh my goodness, I love your questions. I'm thinking whether a letter to my actual mum. Yeah. Mum or Lauren, I think. Those are the two that really springs to my mind. Lauren, again, it's part of the work that I would write to her and explain to what motherhood feels like. Yeah. And how it's felt like for me, and what I would hope I could do better, or hoped I could do better, but what she has given me in terms of perspective. Yeah. Because I think that's the best, and one of the best things that I've gained. Not everybody wants to be high performers and competing and competitive. Some people just want to be. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah. Do you carry a lot of guilt when it comes to Lauren still, or do you feel like you're forgiving yourself?
I'd say I'm still a work in progress. Yeah. I think we've got a lot of conversations that are yet to be had. Yeah. And maybe that letter would make, I guess, a really good bridge for her to understand just what it might be like. Yeah. And maybe vice versa. How she felt. Still haven't got there. on that one.
Yeah. It's funny, I talk to, we joke with my mum sometimes about some of the things that, she did when we were younger. And we are absolutely joking. Like, we had an amazing childhood. Like, my mum couldn't have done more for us. She really could not. However, we'll poke fun at the things that, like when we used to leave somewhere and we'd get into the back, and we might have had a bit of a row. There were 3 of us, we'd always squabble, and we'd get into the back of the car and we'd just feel the tension, and Mum would start clapping.
Yeah.
Well done. We're not going there again. Little things like that we really all laugh at. We find those things funny. That was our childhood, and Mum did what she could. If Mum said, if she was taking us on the bus somewhere, because for a long time she didn't drive, if she was taking us on the bus somewhere and we were squabbling, she'd say to us, I'm going to take you home if you don't stop. Mm-hmm. And if we didn't stop, we would get off the bus and go home. And I really love and admire and respect that. But when we do poke fun, I know now that it does make my mum go, but I was trying my best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that does hurt my heart, because I just think this guilt that we carry, it doesn't stop. We just carry it forward.
Yeah. And I think, I'm just going back to my mom a little bit. She recently went to Bali, and it was like a yoga retreat with a difference, because I think it was a bit spiritual as well.
Right.
So she danced, she chanted, she cleansed with waterfalls. She went to temples. She lit fire to the shame. Literally burning fire. Wrote down 20 women, wrote down the things that she wished she could change about her life, or things that she wished she'd done better. Spoke about her journey. My mum never spoke about her journey.
Really?
No, always living in shame, and perhaps because she was a young mom.
Yeah.
Society had made her feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
But she got rid of it all, and that for me was again this feeling of being able to exhale for her.
Really?
Really just incredibly proud of her journey, and that she'd got to this point where she knew she had to do the work in order to free herself.
But also, that's a difficult thing, isn't it? Because in some ways, I'm like, if we all just did that earlier, then we'd be free of it earlier. Mm-hmm. But I think sometimes we have to carry things for as long as we do to make that release what it is, to actually come to terms with it, or to process it, or to see more of life, so that we can go, that's not it. That's not what life is.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, it would be nice if we all could go in our 30s.
Yeah,
let's get rid.
Completely. And the one thing she said to me, or she said a few things about that experience, but she did say to me, I just wished I hadn't lived in so much fear of what's around the corner, or what people think of me.
Yeah.
Because it just prevented me from doing so many things.
Were you aware of that when you were growing up, that she felt that way?
Not really, but I felt it for her, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I felt, are you really living or just surviving? And I remember feeling, I don't want to be like that. Yeah. And, if you look sometimes in my, I try to maximise every opportunity I have. I feel that's my daughter responsibility for the life that perhaps my mom didn't have, wasn't able to have, that I want to grasp as much of it and take it with me, take it forward, relate to her as well. And I hope, one of my hopes I know is that my kids understand that it is there for you with a certain behaviour.
Yeah.
Might not take you to the White House or have other glorious highs, but it can be enriching.
Yeah.
No matter how simple it is.
Mm-hmm.
But you just got to just do it. If you're curious about something, go and try it.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I feel confident that one day that my daughter and I will have that deep, deep conversation, and yeah. And then for me, maybe I can put to bed some of the feelings that I know I have
Yeah.
about her. But she's still, she's still young.
Yeah.
But we've got time, hopefully.
Loads of time. We end the podcast with you completing 3 sentences. The first one is being a mum means.
It means it's me plus.
Yeah. I
It's
love
me
that.
plus.
Yeah. Since having children, I
Definitely less selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely less selfish. Good thing.
Yeah. And finally, I'm happy when.
I'm happy when when they're all together. When they're all together and they're eating.
Because
they
that's
like to
generally the
eat.
one activity that everyone does that no one argues.
Yeah.
It's the same in our house.
They're eating and it's blissful. Yeah.
Denise, thank you so much. I've loved this and I've loved the book. I'm not quite finished, but I've loved it. So anyone that wants to pick it up, it's Adaptability by Denise Lewis. Dame Denise. It doesn't say Dame on the cover.
That was intentional.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
People know me as Denise and Denise Lewis, and they understand that, the damehood is just solidified, how whatever the committee felt about me at the time and the work that, I've done in sport. But this is about Denise, the woman, very much more than Denise, the sportswoman.
Yeah.
It's lessons learned about womanhood.
I love it. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.